This is Liam McGarry, and welcome to the Big Fight Weekly.
Welcome. It is episode 20 of Powered4.tv Big Fight Weekly with myself, Stu Palmer, and Chris Hugh. How's it going, Chris?
Sound, mate. How are you, mate?
Oh, good. I tell you what, I love that intro. A big thank you to Evade Escape for the intro music there as well. And Chris, I think it's time to get on to the big topic of the week. We are previewing Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier, the Trilogy fight for all the marbles, as you put in the headline there. And yet, I think what better place to start than with your thoughts on the fight. I know you've got quite a bit to talk about, breaking it down, because there's a lot at stake on both sides.
First, I'll go for now, and then I'll put the Taylor tape up for people to have a good look at, have a little gander at. As you can see, everything's quite identical, isn't it, really? You look at the range, the height, the reach, the records aren't too far apart either. So, going into the fight, the Trilogy, as we've said, it's for all the marbles. The winner gets Charles Oliveira. The loser, well, I think we'll get to that as we break down the fight. What going into this fight? We're looking for Conor McGregor with a bit of desire, something that's like, a fire in his belly. A Conor that we obviously, I don't think we'll see the same Conor we saw against Eddie Alvarez, but something similar to that, and not the Conor we saw in January.
Like him or loathe him, Chris. At the end of the day, he splits opinion. A lot of the stuff that splits opinion is stuff outside of the cage, isn't it? And you can't knock what he's done. He's still the king. He's still the kingpin in terms of what he draws, the money. They all want to fight him still, but yeah, huge implications for him. Because where does he go off the back of a loss? Where does he go? Let's just look at it from like the worst case scenario for Conor in your mind.
The worst case scenario. Well, okay, say he loses to Dustin Poirier on the weekend. He's got the Nate Diaz fight to fall back on. The Trilogy that does need finishing, that needs ending, doesn't it? Let's just say we get even a worse case of scenario, and he loses to Nate Diaz, and he really goes down in a spiral. My worry here is, and probably Brett, who's listening or watching, will love this idea, but with Conor McGregor, which worries me, is if he goes down the spiral and he loses to Poirier, he loses to Diaz, I've got a worrying feeling that he's going to need. You only want that many fighting. It's going to be Jake Paul, isn't it? He's going to go and answer that question that Jake Paul's been chasing for 6-8 months, and that's the worst case scenario for me. Because for a guy of his quality, I don't want to see that route go, and that's what worries me. I think if we start to see the rise, we've seen the rise, and now we see the fall of Conor McGregor, and I feel like that could be the scenario.
Does he go back to the stance that he was, so well known for, so successful with? He was a bit more looser, a bit more freer in fights that he's won. Obviously, he was naturally the bigger man at 145, wasn't he? When you looked at him, I know he didn't like the cuts to 145. We've always said, haven't we? He's bounced around 145. He's had a little go at 170. We've always said 155, perfect for him, his size. But will he go back to that stance that he had, where he was a bit more loose, a bit more free? Because as you pointed out in the second fight, Chris, he didn't go down that route, and it left him a bit stale, didn't it? It left him a bit stale in there, didn't it? And Poirier just kept working on him at the lower areas first.
He worked him out, didn't he? And the stance he had against Dustin, we'll say the second one. We'll come to the first. We'll go to the first one after. It was his boxing stance, wasn't it? The whole rumor was he was setting up against Pacquiao, wasn't he? And he had all these boxing trainers in with him, and you could see straight away from when the bell went, he went straight forward towards Dustin Poirier, but he went with a boxing stance, and he was heavy on that lead leg, and throughout the fight, you saw Dustin Poirier just kick at it, and dismantle that first leg, that front leg, this leading leg. That's not what, the Conor McGregor we all knew. The Conor McGregor had the karate stance, very loose, he's fluid, evasive, wasn't he? He's bouncing up and down on his tiptoes, on the ball of his feet, and he could move back and forward. And, he was a great countering fighter because he made people come to him. He set everything up. But the second fight, he didn't set anything up. He was very predictable. He went for that heavy on the left hand, constantly just trying to just put it where he can, find a spot to hit Dustin Poirier with. Dustin Poirier, worked it out brilliantly. He took Conor down. He shot Conor with that. I don't think Conor even saw that a takedown coming from Dustin Poirier. But Dustin Poirier just beat him up. He put him against the fence, and Dustin Poirier is very good at putting fighters against the fence and unloading and really put them under pressure. And Conor just lost himself. That wasn't the same Conor, and it's frustrating to see. And my thing is now, is he going to learn from all the mistakes in such a small window? Because it's January to July, isn't that big of a window, to grasp everything. But he's got to learn. He's got to learn something, and it's those, not just the leg kicks. I think obviously the leg kicks were pivotal, but he needs to find something where he can go back and become something of what he once was, because obviously he's never going to be that guy again. I think that Conor McGregor, of 2015 is got long gone now. That isn't the Conor McGregor we'll see.
Like you said, he's not Che. You haven't seen that in a long, long time. And yeah, the style was different to what we'd seen before, but then they've all got better. Everyone's got better, especially, in that lightweight division. Everyone's got better. And Poirier has said, I'm one for looking at, records, and 19-5, considering some of the guys Poirier's fought, that's just his UFC record as well. That's one hell of a record, Chris. When you look at who he's been in there with, and he got better. He's got better, and it was shown. It showed in that second fight, how much McGregor's been out the game that long, and it's had a bearing, hasn't it? I know that's the obvious thing to say. It's like you said. There's always all the stuff that's going on outside of the cage. McGregor selling the whiskey business. Has he got that hunger? And that's what we've got to see on Sunday morning. That's the question, I think, on everybody's lips. Everyone who likes Conor or wants to see his downfall, they still want to see a good fight. I don't want to see, the way it went last time. But you're going back to Dustin Poirier and you going off about the fighters he's beaten. I'll run them off for you. Pettis, Gaethje, Holloway, Hooker, and McGregor, obviously in January. He's only one loss. In between that was against Khabib, which everyone's lost to Khabib. Anybody. Gaethje, they were touting Gaethje. So I don't want to make this about Gaethje. Gaethje was knocking people out left and right. Yes. Khabib has beat everyone. I know we take him out the equation now because he's not. He's on that. Well, we don't know if he's ever going to come back, do we, Chris? But there's that common thing here, isn't there? A loss to Khabib isn't actually that bad when you look. People, they've all lost to Khabib. Sorry.
No, I'm just looking as well. And, all those the fights I just told you about then who he's fought, only two of them have gone to a decision, and that was Hooker and Holloway. And that's no easy feat against Max Holloway, because Max Holloway is a volume fighter as well. And Dustin Poirier is a volume fighter.
On a side note, Holloway would be a good fight for McGregor,
Well, they fought.
That's what I mean. To see how well Holloway's come on from that fight. I know it was many years ago.
I think, but I worry for Conor in that fight because Max Holloway's just got better and better and better. Let's break down. Let's say the first fight. We'll break down the first fight. So I'll bring a picture up. As you can see here, that was the finish. He caught him by the side of the ear, dropped Dustin Poirier, and obviously finished him with a few strikes on the ground. He predicted it, didn't he? That was the whole Mystic Mac came out of nowhere. That was, the logo, isn't it? He predicted these things, as he said. If you look back and you watch that first fight and the complete difference of Conor McGregor, yes, it was his early days of Conor McGregor. It was the Conor McGregor that had the bravado, the panache, and he could get into people's heads, and he really got into Dustin Poirier's head in that first fight. You saw it all over. It was at the Embedded series they had back in those days, and he really, really pushed buttons with Dustin Poirier. But what he did there is he made Dustin Poirier fight his fight, and he was on his karate stance. He was back, and he was waiting and pouncing, and he made Dustin Poirier move with Conor McGregor. But he used the leg kicks to push Dustin Poirier away, so he wasn't getting caught. But Dustin Poirier was so eager to connect and, to obviously strike with Conor McGregor. The Conor McGregor was, in and out. And he used his counter-striking fantastically in that first fight. And that's how he caught him. And he rocked Dustin Poirier a few times in that first fight. And it was really good to see when you go back and watch it. And knowing what you see now with the Conor McGregor and the Dustin Poirier sort of storyline, he was on his game. And that was the Conor McGregor everyone liked. He pushed the pace, but he didn't do it the way he did it in the second fight. It was very elusive. And he made, like I said, he made Dustin Poirier fight his fight. And it was masterful to see. But, we go into the second fight, and as you can see, this was the end, because he caught Conor up against the cage, hit him with a beret of punches, and then caught him flush right on the forehead. Dropped him.
He's a different fighter. It's crazy when you look at them two. So I just think it's just McGregor's rusty. Poirier's been constantly fighting in that time. Yeah. McGregor would come back. It was never he'd have such a bigger record now, McGregor, if he hadn't been away. You look at he's on 10-3 in the UFC as well. But I just think Poirier has been consistently fighting and he's got better and better. I know that's the obvious thing to say, but he has. It's simple as that. You can't come away from it, Chris. What do you think John Kavanagh will do differently? Now, we spoke about this off camera, and you said to me, does he listen to the corner? Because you'll tell us now in the second fight when he's in the corner, they weren't really giving him anything, were they, tactically, going into that next round? So
no, it was all boxing based again, wasn't it?
Well, John Kavanagh, you've got to question John Kavanagh if they lose this fight. That's my thing. You can't just put it all on Conor.
I don't know, because you don't know who he listens to, and he has a lot of respect for John Kavanagh, so I can't see there being a problem there. But when you go into the first round and it finishes, they go to the stalls, they go to the corner. Nobody in Conor's corner are telling him the leg kicks, your front leg, the front leg kicks, he's getting battered by them. The calf kicks by Dustin Poirier, they are really digging in. And you can see by the second round, the actual, the issues and the troubles he was having with his leg. But in that whole space of the minute before the second round, nobody in his corner was saying, like, you need to check these kicks. You need to change your stance. You need to do something that's going to change the outcome here. But he didn't. And obviously, he went straight back in again and got caught with leg kicks, got caught with calf kicks. And Dustin Poirier just turned the tide and completely changed the fight. Conor needs to go into this third fight now, and he needs to use leg kicks. Go back and watch Nate Diaz, the second fight. Yes, as much as it's close to people, I still think Conor won, I'd say, 4-1 in that. Yeah. But he used leg kicks. And he really put a lot of pressure on Nate Diaz. And I know they're both southpaw as well. So, that front leg kick was there for him all day, but he used it, and he dropped Nate Diaz because of using the leg kicks and putting the pressure on him. You didn't see any of that in the second fight with Dustin Poirier. It was just strike base. Yeah, okay, he kicked him a few times. He caught him a few times, but Dustin took his best shots. But he wasn't setting them up like he used to. Look against Eddie Alvarez, how he set up every single strike. And then you go to now, and he's just bombarding, and he's just throwing. There's no setup. And
the way I look at it, though, just going off on a tangent a bit again, Poirier can take a loss, but I don't think McGregor can take a loss in this one. Poirier can afford to lose it. I think he's ranked first, isn't he? Obviously behind the champion. I was just thinking about that. Then McGregor can't take a loss. Chris, I know you're saying about Diaz, third fight with Diaz, but it's going to be more detrimental to McGregor than it is Poirier. That loss.
Yes, possibly. It could turn into that. Everyone does want to see Diaz and Conor free, and down the road, yes, maybe. But we want to see the bigger fights. We can always put Nate Diaz, Conor McGregor free on the back burner for now. But let's go back to the fight and what the game plans need to be, because it needs to be a game plan. I would ask you this question, and you've watched the fight. Did you see a game plan with Conor McGregor against Dustin in the fight that's just gone now?
He was trying to let his hands go, when like he always does. The punches fought more so. Yeah, we've seen kicks, we've seen back kicks and stuff that he's implemented over the years. It was just very much punches. But as you say,
he was making space when he was doing all the spinning kicks, and it was he was keeping that his reach and his range. I look at it now, and I've looked hard, and I've really put a lot of effort into sort of where I think he can change the game per se, or give it a better game plan. He needs to implement leg kicks. So I think Dustin Poirier is going to know he's going to leg kick him back, because that's what Conor will do, because he did so well against Nate Diaz. He also, though, he needs to implement the style of being elusive and not being there and being there to be hit. It's hard to sort of come across and think, what's he going to do? Because like I say, we go back to the very first question: does he have the desire anymore? Is there literally a fire burning in Conor McGregor, or is he here just for money? I hope, and we both agree, it's not for money, because he's got enough money. But if you're going in and you want to be the champion again, you need to be training day in, day out, and you need to be fighting. Not just once every 5 years.
Will this fight go down to the ground? Now, they're famed for their striking. That's a way of looking at it, isn't it? Or is it just going to...
Dustin took him down in the second fight, didn't he? Dustin is not bad on the ground, and I wouldn't really warrant Conor to sort of go for that sort of tactic. Conor, if Conor can get him in the mount, Conor can get on top of him. I think Conor could easily hit him with that left hand and put him away. But Dustin Poirier's ground game to Conor's is, we haven't really much seen of Conor's, but we've seen Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier's won a few submissions, over time. He did an anaconda to Jonathan Brooks. Was it Brookings who won the Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah, Jonathan Brookings. Yeah,
or put him away.
Brookings. I can't remember. I remember he was fair haired lad, doesn't it? It was when Bruce Leroy was in the same house. It was that season. Sorry, but we're going off on a tangent here, aren't we? Me saying that.
No. But you got to look at things now, right? As we say, fans, but fans of both fighters. Conor McGregor, I feel that at this point in time, has given the blueprint to everybody how to beat him, and I think that came all the way from Diaz beating him with the rear naked choke a few years ago. You tire him out, you clinch work him, you take him down, you make him work, and then Conor's punches, then his left hand punches, there's no spring to him as much.
People are getting better. People have just got better as well.
But he's never evolved.
It's crazy.
That's the crazy. Yeah, they are getting better.
Everyone's got the ability, haven't they? Now Khabib's out of there. When you look at that top 10, I know we've said about it before. They're all amazing. Like, they're all amazing fighters. They're all warrant. You'd have a handful of people in the division, wouldn't you? I think it's just so much quality, and it's because MMA's evolved and all that, and everyone's got better stylistically. Everyone's good at a bit of everything. It's just so hard now, and I think you've alluded to it many times. As his business stuff got in the way, time out the cage. Number one, if he'd have carried on, if he'd gone through consistently, would he be better? That's the question that everyone poses. But don't write him off. Don't write him off on the weekend, is what I would say.
I wouldn't say write him off.
Up until today, the betting was very close. Bisping, Nick Pete. They were only saying a couple of days ago that it was very close. I know Dustin's starting to go, up his favourite, and I'm sure that'll increase as we get closer. But it's still a tough one. It's still a tough one, and Dustin Poirier doesn't want to sleep on Conor, does he?
No, but I think Dustin Poirier is in the ascendancy, though, isn't he? Dustin Poirier is the better fighter at this very point in time. Not skill sets now. I'm not saying skill sets, because we're going skill set for skill set. Conor is the better fighter. But if we're looking at as an MMA fighter in current stature, Dustin Poirier is the better fighter. Dustin Poirier, he's got the heart, he's got the cardio. He's an absolute beast. He's a volume fighter. He pushes the pace. Like again, I go back to when he pushes people against the cage and he unloads and he makes them work. There's one thing I found that Conor could do in that scenario now, and I watched a Mark Bremridge fight, his first ever fight in UFC. And there was those uppercuts. They were sweet and they were straight up. That's something he could use. And in Conor, with Dustin's pushing him back and making him, fight his fight, those uppercuts would be brilliant. And I think that's something he could utilize and catch, Dustin Poirier out when Dustin Poirier's really, putting the pressure on him. It like I say, it's a hard fight to say, because in your heart, yeah, you'd like Conor to win, but in my head, I'll say my prediction now, but I'm going for a Dustin Poirier TKO win in the third round. That's where I'm headed in my head.
And we will have your betting tips later as well. But yeah, just repeat that because I know you'll come back to it. So what are you going for again?
I'm going. Dustin Poirier is going to win by KO in the third round. That's where I'm going.
Please gamble responsibly. I'll sit on the fence as I always do. I'm not going to start predicting. I will leave that to Chris. But have we had any comments as well, Chris?
Yeah,
we've had regarding the fight.
We have our good friend Brett Thomas is jumped in with his conclusion.
McGregor wins as scripted. He needs to have 2 fights to earn bigger. On second, Logan Paul has started dating again and may have a new girlfriend soon. Brett, I don't know. It's just whether he's got a girlfriend or not. He's fighting, isn't he? I think that's neither here nor there. But I know you love the Pauls. So that's fine. Jake Paul got praise from Lewis for boxing. Is that Lennox Lewis, or is that Lewis Young, our viewer up in Scotland? Wasn't you? Lewis Young, were you praising Jake Paul's boxing? But yeah, what do you think, Chris, off the back of Brett's comments there? McGregor, we'll stick to McGregor because it's not about the Pauls, this.
Listen, Brett, it's not scripted. You speak to anybody in the fighting world, they don't think they'd want to take a knockout for a third fight with more than money. It's just not scripted. Conor just came in with the wrong game plan. Conor didn't have any respect for Dustin Poirier, and Dustin Poirier beat him because he was the better man. It's not scripted. This isn't WWE. This isn't wrestling. This is pure combat fighting. Anything can happen, and it can happen and hurt you. So I can't say Conor wanted to go in that second fight in January and be knocked out just to get more money.
You can't take a dive. Not in the UFC. It's just like not. Yeah, I agree with Chris. Rachel Cornell. Hi, Rachel. Hi, Stu and Chris. Hi. Oh, Brett Thomas gets a hi as well. I have a crossover question about Jake Hager. AEW treat him as this untouchable MMA unbeaten fighter. But if he was that good, I question why he's not their champ. It's a good point. If you're building someone up, who's in the pro fight game and they're, undefeated. Yeah, why isn't he champion? I think with Jake Hager, no disrespect, he looks good. He's got the build. I think it's where he's been hampered is on the mic, maybe. But you could put him with someone. He was with Seb Coulter in WWE back when he was Jack Swagger. But yeah, some wrestling questions, Chris.
I'll flip the switch here. Rachel's asked an MMA sort of crossover question.
Anyway, right. Question is, Bobby Lashley, who is the WWE champ, who would you say is better in MMA, Hager or Lashley? And will Fedor destroy Hager? You got the perfect man. You got the perfect man here to answer this one, Chris. Your thoughts on Rachel's question?
So she's asking, will Hager get destroyed by Fedor? Absolutely. Fedor maybe be in his twilight years, but Fedor's still the GOAT. Fedor is still one of the best heavyweights ever to grace mixed martial arts. And Jack Hager is a fake guy, hasn't fought anybody in Bellator. Fedor will go in there and he'll destroy him. I'm not sure about Lashley. I think Lashley I haven't seen in Bellator for a very long time. And obviously, we've been in WWE now. That probably won't happen again. But to answer your question, yeah, Fedor's going to destroy Jack Hager.
I think Lashley's done well as champion in WWE. To just segue into that, no, he's done quite well. Chris, I think we're going to have to get into the co-main at welterweight. What a huge fight this is going to be. Gilbert Burns, second in the welterweight division against one of the fan favourites, one of the people that everyone, respects, looks up to, a patron of the sport, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, as you alluded to earlier, 38 now, still fourth in the division. 12-4 Gilbert Burns in the UFC, 11-4-1 for Wonderboy, so they're quite close on their records. Where do you see this one going? Gilbert Burns, obviously 6 straight wins before losing to Usman in the title fight, Chris. But Wonderboy is on a 2-fight win streak himself. As you said, 2 big wins as well. So
Jeff Neal and Luque, 2 brilliant fights because they're 2 up-and-comers. And we saw Vicente Luque destroy Tyron Woodley, a few months back. You see where Luque's heading. Stephen Thompson isn't going to avoid anybody. Stephen Thompson's going to fight everybody. And he's 38 years old. He's still pure the best kickboxer to grace UFC as a whole, actually, in MMA. He's the one that's actually come over and transitioned really well. You've seen fighters come from kickboxing and haven't transitioned really well to MMA. He's been really, really good. What I'll say to you is, though, Woodley took Thompson down, didn't he? And the only other person to take Thompson down was Matt Brown. Just to sort of give you the sort of idea. Gilbert Burns isn't going to win a striking fest with Thompson, not one bit. Thompson is another one that's very elusive. It bounces on his feet, but he's very quick with his movement. He isn't going to be stationary. You look back at Burns and who he's beaten, but with strikes, Damian Maia's not elusive. Damian Maia's a very, still guy.
And ground-based, very solid on the ground, as we know.
He's going to have to get inside Thompson, and he's going to have to pressure Thompson from the inside. But the question is, can he get inside with Thompson? Because Thompson's, he's going to have a bigger reach, and he's going to use those kicks to keep, Burns away from him. It's going to be really hard. I think, Gilbert Burns is going to have to work extra hard to get a takedown with Thompson, because Thompson, again, as I just said about Woodley and Matt Brown, is very, very hard to get, taken down. I find it hard because, like I say, Burns is going to have to do a lot of work to get a victory here. I'm not saying Burns can't. Burns could clip him. Anthony Pettis clipped Stephen Thompson and KO'd him, not long ago. But I think, Stephen Thompson at the age of 38, he's still going in there with the young, hungry fighters and still, beating them. And he's beating them soundly as well. He beat Jeff Neal, who's an up-and-comer, and he beat him soundly. This for me is a do or die again. This do or die because as Stephen Thompson's 38, this is his last chance for a shot at Usman. And Usman's not fought Thompson. He's fought pretty much everybody else in that top 5, top 8. He's fought everybody else. So yeah, this is his last chance. I like Burns. I like Gilbert Burns. You know me. I'm big. I love my jiu-jitsu, and I think he's a king.
That's where he's gonna have to take it, Chris, isn't he?
Unless he can catch Thompson.
Yeah.
Anything can happen in MMA. He could catch Thompson with overhanded right if Thompson's a bit exalius and he tries to go in. But I can't see Thompson being like that. Thompson's not the type of fighter that is going to pressure. He's a rangy fighter and he picks you apart. Like I say, Burns is going to have to work really hard in this fight to get anything out of Thompson. Thompson's going to have be slip up somewhere or be over hasty with a strike. I've gone with a unanimous victory for Wonderboy. I think Wonderboy is going to win this fight. It's going to be close, though. I don't think it's going to be, like I say, Thompson's ranging. He can move Burns to his will. I still think Burns is going to come to fight. But yeah, I'm going unanimous decision for Wonderboy. And then this will then push Wonderboy for that fight against Usman or Colby Covington, whoever's the champion.
Where is Colby Covington? Mr. Mouth Almighty. I haven't seen much from him, have we?
So since last August, I think he fought Tyron Woodley.
What's he been doing? Hiding under a rock, or is he training hard? What we going with Colby?
I think he's training hard. Listen, he's the only one out of all the fighters that fought Usman that pushed Usman. I was winning rounds against Usman. Usman's obviously now a different guy. He's a beast. He's changed. He's added that striking and the power. We saw it against Masvidal. We saw it against Gilbert Burns. He's learning to wrestler become striker, but he's mixing it up. He's not obviously just relying on that, the Johnny Hendricks style fighter where he worked out he could knock people out, but then forgot about his wrestling side. Usman's ultra talented.
Oh my days!
But it'd be a compelling fight.
I would love. We were talking about this off camera. If Khabib was to come back, which I wouldn't rule it out. I think Usman. They're saying about super fights, Chris. Usman and Khabib, man, I'd love to see that. That would be amazing. It would be a great test on both sides, wouldn't it? Khabib having to go up 15 pounds, and then Usman, who's been amazing. So yeah, absolutely. Also, Chris, Sean O'Malley's on the card, isn't he? Carlos Condit's on the prelims.
Yes, Carlos Condit is there.
Tied to Avisa and Greg Hardy as well at heavyweight. So it's a big card. Saturday, Sunday for us here in the UK. Isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's an amazing card. It's on Sky BT box office. Sorry, so it's one of them for people. But it's Conor McGregor, and he brings in the big bucks, doesn't he? I'm going to go to some comments because we have got quite a few. Okay. I'll throw one in from Honest Beyond Reason.
Hello, honest, beyond reasonable, regular with. Hi, at Stu's Wrestling Podcast. Enjoyed seeing the event of you doing Superstar Pro. Thank you very much. Everyone did so well in the ring. The wrestling was fantastic. It was a pleasure. It was an honor for me. And I know Mike felt the same, calling the action. It was brilliant. I had a great time. Gonna have to get Chris to come to a show and then we can have a few beers after. Watch it with a non-wrestling fan on FB the other night. Yeah, it's done good numbers on Facebook. I shared it to a lot of places. TNT Deathmatch looks sick. So much blood. Yeah, obviously the parent promotion there, TNT. Yeah, and the clip look. Yeah, absolutely. Jay's doing a wonderful job. Jay and the team with TNT, and I know he's glad to be back. So yeah, it was. If you're bloodthirsty, if you like that sort of stuff, it's right in your wheelhouse. Is TNT absolutely.
Mark Lloyd's got a song he might want to sing to us.
Are we allowed to say it's coming home? It's coming. I'm not singing it properly. It's coming home. It's coming home. Football's coming home. Well, they've got a better chance than ever. I mean, they got to the semi-finals of the last World Cup, didn't they? And it's they've got a good chance. But I wouldn't sleep on the Italians. They've been very good. Bar the Austria game, Chris. Austria went at them in that extra time.
Wales played well against Italy, to be fair.
Yeah, they did, to be fair. And then, obviously, they look good again the other night. But Spain tonight, don't sleep on Spain. Me and Chris were saying about it. Luis Enrique, a lot of experience. They weren't expected to do much. But then, the Danes tomorrow, the Danes is a taller order than the Ukraine game was.
I totally agree.
Danes have gone
they're
about
not
their
going to
business.
lie over. They're not going to lie over,
No,
are they?
no.
Ukraine got the bellies tickled by England the other day.
Two big matches the next 2 nights. I'm looking forward to them. Brett Thomas, this is a quote by Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury has described Jake and Logan Paul as a breath of fresh air to the boxing scene after their forays into the squared circle since crossing over from YouTube. Right, Brett.
Are you making these things up, Brett?
Brett, give us some evidence of this, because how do we know you're just saying it? I mean, I'm not saying we're not calling you a liar by any stretch, but you gotta have some evidence. We've got to have some evidence here, Rambo. So I've got a question, like Nat or RK. Do you remember WWE signed Sylvester Terkay back in 2002-04? Time, whatever happened to him? Net blew up. Then we never saw him. He was with Elijah Burke for a little bit. They put him. He was with him, wasn't he? Like. I remember that going on. He was an MMA, I think. I didn't know much about him as an MMA guy, Chris Sylvester Terkay. He had the look. He was
right,
built.
okay.
Oh, thank you, Brett. A super sticker. He's not got upset. He's not got upset by my comments there, Chris. No, thank you, Brett. Joking aside, no, we appreciate it. And John and Rich and the team will appreciate it too. Thank you for that donation.
He's well, you'll see this, what you said.
Nice work, Stu, on Superstar Pro. You were better than Mike Angus. Oh, no.
Mick Angus is his brother.
Mick Angus. Mike did play-by-play. I couldn't do that. Mike was amazing. No, he was fantastic, Mike. He did a great job. That's the hard bit to do play-by-play. He was doing the hard bit. Colour analysing. That's easy. That's easy. What's up, guys? Ramel Pansil. Sorry, I'm waffling. Hello, Ramel. All the way from the Philippines. I know you'll be looking forward to the fight over the weekend. The fights. I know you're a big fan.
We had a massive conversation about it yesterday.
Lewis Young, McGregor, first round. So Lewis is going the opposite way to you, Chris.
I can't see it, if I'm completely honest with you.
Albert Barlett, Melanie and Bert are here. Chris and Stu. Oh, you got your. Why is it your wife, Albert? Chris will be able to tell me.
Yes, that's his wife. Yes.
Yeah.
Mel.
Hello, Melanie. Nice to see that you're both watching us today. You're all a partying co-host there, Chris.
Yeah, man. I think Brett wants me to. What do you want me to say, Brett?
Give a follow up to that so Chris can answer. Well done, Chris. You are seeing what Tyson has been saying about them.
Sort of, yeah. There you go. El
Secano. All right, chaps. Are you both fans of Cobra Kai? I can't wait for season.
Mate. Love it.
I can't wait for season 4. And it's I saw the trailer on Netflix the other day that they put up. I cannot wait for that. And I think the best is yet to come from that series.
Most definitely.
It's very good, Elsa. Me and Chris love that show. It's been brilliant. Mark Lloyd, why is it great fighters choose to lose their sport like Ronda when she got beat? She was never the same again. I feel the same about Conor. It's not.
Listen, Mark. It's not the same. She
went totally off. She
Yeah.
went totally off the radar. To be fair to Conor, I know people give off about him being in and out, but he has, there's been periods where he's not been there for a long time, but he loves fighting. Ronda loves fighting. We know that the judo background and all that, but it is two different things, isn't it, Chris? For you to answer your thoughts.
Listen, Ronda was excellent. She was a person that brought the ladies MMA scene to the highest level. Amanda Nunes has now taken and rocketed that on. But she disappeared when she lost her first fight and absolutely, cut everything off. Remember when she came back against Nunes? Didn't want to do any media obligations, just shut everyone away, which is not very good. If you want to, express the way you feel and tell people how you feel and what you're going to do, and she just completely closed the door on that. Conor lost to Diaz, but Conor went and fought Diaz again in August and won that fight. And don't forget, 2 months later, went and beat Eddie Alvarez to become the double champion. That's a different mentality between the two,
Yeah.
Ronda wanted to do wrestling as well. Conor wants to fight.
She's pregnant? Has she had the baby?
Not what I knowledge.
Okay. So she's got life stuff going on. So I wonder when we'll see her again, WWE. Mr. John Scott, one of the head honchos at powered4.tv. Evening, chaps. Great show so far. Thank you, John, for doing us the new logo. And the intro, yeah. We couldn't do it, I tell you. So, no, we appreciate that. You investing in us because you got your own stuff going on as well. Carnage Payne, he couldn't beat Burt Reynolds, let alone Shamrock. And didn't he pass out and poo himself to the hands of Gene LaBelle, who is legit and trained Bruce Lee? Yeah, Gene LaBelle.
It's this question that on us beyond reasonable.
They're going at each other, right? I see. Is Steven Seagal a legit fighter? Like in his prime, could he have won?
Aikido he is. I think he is, but no. He told the world that he showed Anderson Silva the front kick to Belfort's face. You know what I mean? He couldn't lift his leg up that high. No, he is in Aikido, but in anything else martial art wise, no, he's not. He's a fake, and he's scared of Jean-Claude Van Damme, if I remember rightly, back in the day. Let's see else. There's another one from Brett.
Chris, you mentioning Anaconda has put me in the mood to watch the film Anaconda.
Ice Cube's in that as well. Good choice. Let's see. Anything else?
Because we have got the box thing coming up. We're going to have to go to break. Romeo Anthony Colon. I'm reckoning that's
welcome to the show, mate.
Yeah, good to see a new commenter. Actually, is this enough turnaround time for Conor to make the correct adjustments? Should he have waited longer for the rematch? I'm throwing my pen around here.
I did say I did think January to July is quite close, isn't it? I don't know how much adjustments you can make, but he's got to make those adjustments, hasn't he? He really has to make those adjustments. The thing is, Romeo, I don't know if he's evolved enough to make any impact. Really, I think Conor's always dangerous in this first round. Conor is scary, but after that, when you put a lot of pressure on Conor McGregor, he starts to wilt, doesn't he? He's not the same guy. He gets tired, and then you look at Diaz and Poirier when they put the pressures on him, he wilted. I don't think it's long enough, really. Maybe he should have waited till maybe August and maybe done January to August, like maybe a bit more time. But the thing
it's not as if he's had like a 2-month, 3-month turnaround though. I still think it's enough time, but. They could have gone sooner, is what I'm getting at. That fight could have been.
It couldn't have gone sooner because he got knocked out. Remember, you got to have suspensions after you get knocked out. So
they still do all that.
Yeah.
I don't know, bloody hell.
Okay. He's answered our question here.
Yeah, I'd seen photos. Yeah, I had seen photos. Romeo Anthony Colon.
We will get back to your comments as well. So we're just going to crack on with the show.
Are we gonna hit a little break, Chris?
Oh yeah, why not?
Let's see what's on offer on powered4.tv.
I'll do it for you now.
to say anything. I'm just going to enjoy Jesse's divine.
The babyface Pitbull is a mark for himself.
The brilliant Pro Wrestling View, PW View, available now on demand on powered4.tv. So many promotions, adding as the days and weeks go on. So yeah, please sign up to powered4.tv. You will not regret it. And Chris...
Hey, hold on a minute now. Conor Payne has answered a question for us that Brett was talking about Tyson Fury.
Unfortunately, Chris and Stu, Tyson did say that. Right, okay. Yeah, there you go, Brett.
Segueing into Tyson Fury, mate.
Perfect. This is perfect. Now, Deontay Wilder has claimed Fury has a master plan to cheat again. I've heard it all now. I've heard it all. You don't turn up to the press conference with your headphones on, number one, so he's beating him there. Because he didn't say a word, did he? Didn't say a word.
No.
It's ridiculous. And it's just anything. It's not going to get under Fury's skin. Fury's going to find this laughable.
Didn't his coach come out? They're saying they're having a tactical change. So he's coming up with a master plan. What master plan has Wilder got?
He's always fought the same. He's always fought the same way, unless they've totally changed the way he boxes.
Yeah, I'm not being funny. Just like we talk about Conor, getting enough, learning all his mistakes in the time space between Dustin's fight and the next one. He's not going to learn how to box like Tyson Fury in the space of a year. He's not that very good of a boxer. I don't care what anyone says. He's a power puncher with an overhand right, and that's what's got him through. He hasn't fought anyone anywhere remotely near where Joshua and Fury have fought. He's going to get laid out on. When they fight, I can't remember what date. Is it 19th of July?
It's 24th, so it's 2 weeks out. It's 2 weeks out.
2 weeks out.
UFC 264. So yeah, they're coming in fast now. These big events. Absolutely.
And he didn't cheat. These all pictures that he put up. Was he carrying a flipping gold rock bar in his his glove?
This would all be checked beforehand. They get bandaged. They get bandaged. It's ridiculous. You can't get away with stuff like that. We're not 100, into boxing 100 years ago when things were going on like that. It's ridiculous. He's trying anything.
Pennies in his glove.
Very much like McGregor. You want to play mind games. Fury can do that, and he can do it handsome. And he's beating him in there now. So it's pressure. I can't believe he's took the third fight. I know it was obviously written into a contract somewhere because it came out, but
it ruined a big fight though, didn't it? It ruined everything.
Yeah, it did.
So
it's delayed that one. I can't see it going any other way.
I can't see Fury beating him.
I wonder on betting at the moment what you'd get for Wilder. I just wonder how wide it actually is. But that punch, you never know. But I can't see it.
No, I can't see it. But what I have found out today, Stuart, they reckon the time they're actually in the ring now. Let's forget the whole walk time because they walk like the Undertaker to the bloody ring, don't they? In boxing, they reckon between 4 and 5 a.m. they're actually going to be physically fighting in the UK. It's a long, it's not as worse as UFC because, 9 times out of 10, you have to wait till 5:30 until, the main event gets there, depending on how quick fights go, personally. But that's what they're saying on the internet. 4 to 5 a.m. for the fight, the fight to physically start.
Okay. Got to get up for it, haven't you? That's just a given. We've got to be up, regardless if we're saying that Fury's going to trounce him. You've got to be up and watching that live, haven't you? Absolutely. Have you got some comments, Chris? I'll leave it on the comments after the show for you. Tyson Fury's comments about Jake Paul and Logan. Okay, no, fair enough. I'll say I'm wrong for forever doubting that he ever didn't say it.
What I'll say is, though, Brett, when you're going to do it, just do it in the comments section below the page, not in the chat that you're in now, because the link won't go on there. So do it in the comments section below, and then the link will pop up.
Perfect. So, yes. And then, a very close friend of Tyson Fury will segue into it. Billy Joe Saunders, after a huge, knockout KO with Canelo, he's assessing his options now. I think he can get back into it, Chris. But as you said, taking a shot so hard that he took, will he be the same fighter, number one? But number two, there's a lot of potential in the super middleweight division for him fights. I've listed the guys: Benavidez, Andrade, Caleb Plant, Jamal Charlo, Callum Smith, which would be a good UK dust-up because the only losses they've had on their records were against Canelo. So I think Callum Smith would be a great fight for him. Billy Joe, I still think will come back from it. I really do. But will he be the same? Eubank Jr.'s in the list as well. But I just don't think. I think he's beaten him once, and that was at middleweight. But yeah, hopefully he's going to come back, Chris.
Listen, he's an absolutely talented boxer, and I when we spoke before, I said, and I tell you now, I maintain that he was doing really well against Canelo.
Yeah, he was
until that.
Yeah,
but it's going to be psychological because once you've got through all the whole debacle of getting your eye fixed, training again is going to be a mental game because you're not going to be wanting to be hit in that corner of the eye, are you? Because you're going to be worried it'll go again. Get him a tune-up fight, get him to feel where he's at. And then he can assess everything from then, or maybe having something in his gym, on the quiet, and then he can, get the feelers out. And I think you go back to Michael Bisping, he lost an eye and he fought on with one eye. I think if there's ever a problem where he's got an issue and feeling his mental health about his eye, go and speak to Michael Bisping. Go and you should have a good chat with him, and ask Michael Bisping, how did it feel like, he fought and won the title with one eye. And I think Billy Joe can speak to Bisping, and then I think he'd trot on. He's still an excellent fighter, as you said. There's so lots of fights to have.
Brilliant. Benavidez would be a good one. Andrade as well, because they're both undefeated. I mean, they're good tests. But as you said, it's a valid point. Maybe he needs a tune-up first in between. Yeah. Just get off the back of Canelo. I think you are correct there. I think just get himself back confident, get that confidence back. It's all well and good saying it, isn't it? You hear from these fighters until you're in there doing it. Total different beast. But also just going on to that, his dad. He said, if my dad told me to, I'm paraphrasing here. If my dad said, it's time to hang him up, he would listen to his dad. So you've got that going on as well. But I do think he'll come back in. I don't think that's the last we'll see of Billy Joe, Chris.
He's too talented. He's too talented. Was that your microwave going off then, by the way?
Yeah. It was the microwave, yeah.
Hope you're having something nice, mate.
Yeah, I don't know what we're having, actually. That'll be interesting in a little while. But yes, so we'll look forward to seeing what happens with Billy Joe. And then moving on, we've got a big fight night. BT Sport, Queensbury Promotions, Frank Warren, Lyndon Arthur and Anthony Yarde, who fought last December to a split decision victory for Lyndon Arthur. Now, I had Anthony Yarde winning that prior. I hadn't seen too much of Lyndon Arthur. And to my detriment, he lost a fight. Anyway, both are in action. David Ferracci is taking on Lyndon Arthur, who is 15-0. David Ferracci with 7 KOs. And then Anthony Yarde is facing the German Emin Atra, who is 17-0, 12 of which are KO. So you'd be looking at these fights and thinking, it's to get them tuned up. But I wouldn't write the guys off the fighting. I think, they're coming up to a level, though, whereby, it's going to be tough taking on Arthur and Yarde. But this will hopefully set up the rematch later in the year. Both fighters wanted the rematch sooner. They didn't want to be having this fight now. But watching the fight back again, just refreshing myself, Lyndon Arthur with the jab was absolutely brilliant. And he was humble in his victory, whereas Anthony Yarde was bemoaning, well, I nearly put him away late on there. Yeah. And the corner weren't giving Anthony Yarde anything. Going back to corners and discussing going through it. Whereas Lyndon Arthur's corner were very vocal. It does seem to have an effect,
People are always going to be, fighters. They think on the verge of winning a fight. I thought Arthur completely controlled the fight all the way through. It was only that Yarde came on in the last round or so, but Arthur kept him at range, and he kept him away from him the majority of the fight. And they did it. Am I right? It was a split decision as well.
It was a split.
I didn't see that as a split, if I'm honest.
They had it tighter with Lyndon Arthur. The two judges had it tighter, and then the judge that went through Anthony Yarde, he had it wider with Yarde winning. It's this thing again with judges, Chris. You say about it in the UFC. It is what you see. We see things differently sometimes. But
they need educating. The whole board of judges and sports, man. Referees as well, yeah. Might as well put them in there.
It'd be good. It's good that it's at the Royal Albert Hall, but it's just a shame it's not happening after July 19th, because obviously we're going to lead into this in a minute, aren't we? I'll just stick to this for a second, though, Chris, about Saturday's fight first. I think they're going to. It was going to be 1,000 people at the Royal Albert Hall, but I think restrictions and stuff, they've allowed a few more in, I think, from what I can gather. So it's just a shame that it's not happening sooner. But then again, when Anthony Yarde and Lyndon Arthur come through this, you're going to have a full stadium if they get through their fights. Not discrediting the two guys they're getting in with. But
you can't, can you? Because then anything can happen.
And that leads in perfectly about venues and rules in the UK changing. I think we need to make light of this in sport in general, as Chris said. It's not just boxing, MMA. UK venues set for full capacity from July 19th. There you see a good wide shot of the O2 Arena there at capacity. And what great news, Chris. And as you said, Joshua Usyk, which is taking place at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where it holds 60,000. That will be full. That will be full due to renewed rules on venues being allowed to operate on full capacity. So, what do you think about it?
Well, it's great for sports all round, isn't it? We're both avid Evertonians, and, you saw it across the board last season, a lot of teams losing at home, and we obviously had a treacherous home form, didn't we? Having Evertonians in the ground changes the whole concept of the game then, doesn't it? And I think for every fan that goes to, their grounds, the teams they support, it changes everything. You've seen it, in America with fans coming in, UFC doing it. You feel more involved. Okay, you're watching it on the telly, but it's best to hear the fans. It's great to hear the fans. I think it's great, and for UFC as well, because they're targeting London, September, October, apparently, with Darren Till and Derek Bronson. So that would be great. They can come in and get, capacity for, I think maybe, is it the O2 they usually go to, isn't it?
20. They'll do 20,000 easy. That'll just sell out, won't it?
It'd be great for all sports. Everyone, for every sport you like, you don't have to like football, wrestling, MMA, but just to be in the sport.
I think there'll be a renewed passion. When people moan about, my team's done this, our fighters done that. I think there'll be more of a respect factor because we haven't had it for so long, And look at, like you said, about the American venues. I know it was certain states were operating, doing it. It has worked well, hasn't it? We've got to get some semblance of normal, haven't we?
Normality has to go back to normal. And I think what you just said then, and I allude on that, is we've had it taken away, and people who go to games, any kind of sport now, have had that taken away. And I think, as you say, it'd be renewed, wouldn't it? The love, the sport, because it's like where, when I got out of the house after having COVID, I felt like I got released from prison. And it was like, I felt like, it was like I could see the sunshine. I'm outside.
It's like you'd had like a week or so at Wormwood Scripps or something, Chris.
I must have, yeah. I might have been, Broadhorse or something. But everyone going back to the game, the renewed love, it's like, they've had it taken away, haven't they? It's like, and then having it back, you hold on to it a bit more dearly because, what it could happen again. Hopefully it doesn't. I don't want to go for all that crap again, but you don't know what's in the future. So, you'd grasp it, wouldn't you? You sit at Park End at Goodison Park and, as we do, is rally off the away fans. I'd love to do that again. I missed when, we could do that. So that goes for everybody in the sport. It'd be nice if people, to go to the crickets, the golfs, your MMA, your boxing. They've all missed it. It's not been the same watching an empty room. It's interesting to listen to fighters and coaches. Just don't get me wrong, but it's not the same when you've got fans cheering. People like Conor McGregor thrive off the fans.
And that is going to be, obviously they have had events on over there, aren't they? It's going to be crazy that in the crowd for that as well. But Usyk and Joshua, perfect timing, really, isn't it? That they're coming back in. We're getting the fans in. So that's a huge fight. That's a huge fight. We had any more comments, Chris, before we close out?
We've had a few, mate.
Imagine Billy Joe versus Jake Paul, just a press conference alone. Yeah, but he wouldn't want to get in there. He wouldn't want to get in there with Billy Joe, would he? Come on now. I loved you guys using JRS photo the other day from Livewire. JR, sorry. Yeah, also these near graduate looking fans should keep their mouth shut on JR needing to be fired. I think that's a question for Powered 4 SP3, that one, isn't it?
And I don't think that's for us.
Was that? I bet that was to do with when JR was losing his shit when people were calling in and you had Vince Russo beside him. And they just weren't asking anything thought-provoking, the people calling into Livewire. It's quite funny. Like does come up quite a bit that on the old pages, wrestling pages. Rommel, Panseals, orbital bone injuries are tricky. Some fighters get bothered by it their whole career. I think Billy Joe will have the presence of mind once he's had that tune-up and then he gets back in there. He'll just get back in. And he's a fighter. But you can understand that it can psychologically hurt you,
You can't see what I can see here, mate.
What is it?
I've started that thing off of your microwave, mate. And you have a lot of comments of people asking what's in your microwave. So I'll start off with Rachel. She's got a nice one for you, mate.
I'll start lasagna. Lasagna's all right. Do it in the oven. Make your own. Don't buy from the supermarket. Rachel Connor, I'll put in Stu's microwave being a curry. There you go. A nice curry. See, there again, you could make a nice curry on the hob. McCain chips and Stu's microwave.
I love the microwave chips, but I'm with you on that one.
They were a go-to, the McCain chips, when we were younger, Chris. This should be a new segment on the show. What's in Stu's microwave? Yeah, well, I don't really do much cooking at home, so the missus does it. I'll go sausage and mash. We've had everything. They've encompassed everything on a menu here, haven't they? Sausage and mash. Stu's microwave, LOL. Yeah, bloody hell.
Oh,
crikey. Have we had anything else?
Yeah, we've still got a few coming, mate.
Romeo Anthony Cologne, a new viewer, which is great. Absolutely brilliant. Full capacity. You love to see it, yeah. And especially
100%.
Massively, I'm not discrediting the American crowds. I've been over to America for WrestleMania, is amazing. But the UK crowd, man, oh my days. The passion's unreal and the chanting's amazing. El Secano, mac and cheese in the microwave. There we go. An American dish going in there now as well to add to everything else.
I think John's the one that's getting everyone to jump in on your microwave meal.
Brilliant, John. You've teed this one up brilliantly. Yeah, we've encompassed the whole menu. Rambo, I'm going to be different and say she's got pudding in the microwave like apple pie and custard. Get it in the oven and warm your custard on the hob. That's what I'd do.
And I think
an apple pie. Is that as done? Is it?
Well, if you give me a second, I need to take this banner off. I'm not leaving it on like I did last week.
Chris has got the hard job because he's got to pump everything in.
Hey, I'm learning to produce. Yeah. I think we've been great, and I think it's great being talking about Conor McGregor, giving that the space it needs because it's a big fight. Stuart, I know you're going to sit on the fence, and we've got people watching. I need to know where you're going. Don't sit on the fence. Get off that fence and tell people who are watching the show.
Head, I use this term all the time. I use this sense all the time for a lot of stuff. Head is saying Poirier. My heart is saying McGregor. Because I got up so many times. You get up for all the events. Like I have got up for events over the years, but all the time, watch so many Conor's fights live. I would love to go and see it in person. We've seen the peak.
I was quite close, mate.
Yeah, we've seen the peak of it, but yeah, there's certain fighters that'll get you up, like the boxing. It's the same. It's the same with Fury. If Joshua does go out to America, I'd be getting up for him. There's certain people. He gets a bad rap sometimes, as McGregor. I think a lot of people promoting.
He's done a lot of dumb shit, other hasn't he? But then you tell me who hasn't done a lot. Mike Tyson did a lot of dumb shit. Listen, I'm with you with it though. I love Conor McGregor. I watched Conor McGregor from Cage Warriors. Before people knew who he was really. Unless you watch Cage Warriors, you wouldn't have known who Conor McGregor was. I met the guy in Manchester, and he would have been on the card if he didn't blow his ACL against Max Holloway. I had Michael Bisping on the card, but then obviously his eyes was the problem. And I met Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor was a nice guy. He took his time out. I was pissing down the rain, and I've said this to you many times. And he took his time to speak to me. So did Chael Sonnen and Michael Bisping. But, I was, set on the Conor McGregor because I've watched him come through the routes of the UK to America. And yeah, I do want him to win. Don't get me wrong, but I gotta put on my analyst's head in and think not as a fan, but as an analyst and think I have to go Dustin Poirier. As much as it pains me to say it, because I don't want to bet against him, and I hope he surprises me and shocks me and does it, because then I'd eat my own shit then, because I'd be like, well, I shouldn't have bet against you, but I gotta think fight, and I can't think as a fan. And unfortunately, when we do this now, I can't think as a fan now. I gotta think properly about it. But good luck to Conor McGregor. Good luck to Dustin Poirier. Stephen Thompson, Gilbert Burns, Carlos Condit, as you said.
Yeah.
Sean O'Malley, who I think he's got an easy fight.
Carlos Condit, what a fighter! Just going off, the amount of years the guy's done it, and I remember seeing him months back in, I've not seen him for a while. And
Matt Brown.
He's incredible, and they had a good tear it, man. It was good, two old school guys, wasn't it, going at it? You can't. The passion, it's incredible to see. So yeah, Sean O'Malley as well on the card.
Yeah, but he's fighting Chris. Is it Matinho?
It's a new guy, isn't it? It's a guy fresh in the company.
Props to going in there against Sean O'Malley.
It's a tough test. I like Sean O'Malley, man. He's got movement. He's got a different style to him. But yes, Chris,
he wants to be like Conor McGregor. He said this week, by the way.
But they all, absolutely. So
don't they all?
Where can the viewers find you before we go?
Hold on. They can find me on Twitter at Van Hume. I've got a bit. My profile picture is Big Fight Weekly, so you'll know it's me straight away. Same profile picture. Instagram at Van Hume 86. You can find me on there. Feel free to send me a message. Feel free to disagree with me as well. I don't mind. I like to know everybody's opinion. I don't always agree that I say is what everyone else appears to think is the truth. I think I've spilled that all over. And you can find me on Powered 4's Big Fight Weekly page on Facebook. I'm there all the time. Me and Stuart are constantly posting everything we can when we see, when we're not on live from the show. That's where you can find me.
I'm Stu Palmer, and it's Stu's Wrestling Podcast. And there's a lot. I've done a lot of UK interviews recorded recently, guys, on the UK scene. So I'm looking forward to getting them out. There's free boxed off and done. So yeah, look out for them. Go back and watch some previous episodes as well. I've had loads of ex-WWE guys, WCW guys as well. A lot of people go to more current stuff when I'm looking at my stats and stuff. Go from through. The bottom, go through. Also, R.I.P. Del Wilkes, the Patriot. I had Del Wilkes on last August. What a man. And it was I was choking up going back over that episode. I put a little tribute clip up of him just talking. I didn't want to put an onus on the episode of the podcast out of him, but to just share that hour and a half, 2 hours with Del, and he was incredible. What a lovely person. Stayed in contact after, actually, and it was just out of the blue. 59 years old, but R.I.P. Del Wilkes, the Patriot. Former WWF, WWE star, WCW Japan. He was in Global before that. He was in Global, which was a company that was going. And, I just want to make light to one feud he had. If he wasn't injured, him and Bret Hart would have gone longer, because he had a good feud with Bret Hart in 97 before Bret was on his way out to WCW. But yes, thank you very much. Oh, Elsa Kane. This has been one of my fave videos. Yeah, chaps. Cheers, Elsa.
Cheers, Elsa.
We appreciate you every week commenting. Thank you. All the comments. Thanks so much. Not a problem, mate. We love doing it for you. Thanks so much, guys. Chris, I'll send it on comments after the show. Yeah, thank you, Brett. Rambo, good interview. Everyone go check out Stu's. Yeah, he played Patriot after him. Yeah, thank you, Chris. Yeah, no, thank you, Rambo. Go through, go right back. I've had some incredible guests. All the guests have been amazing.
Do it. If you're going to work or you can listen to music before you start your job, go and listen to his podcast. Just chill out, sit on your bus, sit in your car, put Spotify on and just listen to it. And you enjoy it. It's great podcast.
This has been Powered4.tv Big Fight Weekly with myself and Chris Hume, and we will see you next week as we review what's happened over this past weekend, and we look forward to it. Thank you.
See you then.